Good evening, all of you. Yesterday's session, we discussed about what is operating system, right? We discussed about what is operating system in the last class. Operating system is acting as mediator between users and computer hardware components. Without having operating system, we cannot use any computer. Operating system is mandatory. Operating system is mandatory to use any computer. What this operating system is doing in the computer? Operating system provides environment to run other applications. For example, if you want to run some browser, or if you want to type something in the notepad, if you want to draw something on the paint, if you want to use some media players, VLC, etc., calculator, CalC, these kind of applications, if you want to use in the computer, then you need one operating system. All right. Without having operating system, we cannot use any computer. Operating system is mandatory and it is acting as a mediator between the users and computer. Operating systems, the first operating system came in the market in the year of 1950. The first OS came into market in 1950. Microsoft released first operating system in 1981. Microsoft released its first OS in 1981, that is called as MS-DOS operating system. Now, mainly we are using two operating systems, guys. One is Windows, another one is Linux. Windows and Linux OS we are using. Windows OS. Windows developed by Microsoft. Developed by which company, guys? Developed by Microsoft. It is having graphical user interface. GUI is available for Windows operating system. It is single user based operating system. It is single user based operating system. That means only one person can access at a time. Only one person can access at a time. It is commercial. You have to purchase the license of the Windows in order to use it. And less security in the Windows operating system. It is recommended for personal use. It is recommended for personal use. If you want to use it in your personal computer, then you can go for Windows operating system. Windows operating system developed by Microsoft company. It is having graphical user interface. Rich UI is available so that easily you can perform the operations in the computer with the help of GUI provided by our Windows OS. Windows is single user based operating system. That means only one person can connect to Windows machine at a time. It is commercial. That is nothing but it is a paid version. We have to purchase the license of this Windows. In the Windows operating system, security is less. That's why we are going to install antivirus. There is a chance of attacking virus in our Windows OS. Windows is recommended for personal use. So that's why we are going for Linux OS. We are going for Linux OS. Now, Linux is community-based OS. Linux is community-based OS. That means it is not belongs to any company. It is not belongs to any company. Linux is free and open source. You no need to purchase the license of the Linux operating system because it is free of cost. Anybody can use the Linux operating system. And the Linux is open source. What is the meaning of open source? The source code also available for the Linux in the internet. You can take it and you can modify as per your requirement. And Linux is multi-user based operating system. Linux is multi-user based operating system. That means if there is a Linux machine, multiple users can connect to same Linux machine to perform operations. High security. Linux is very secured OS. Linux is very secure operating system. It is recommended for applications, servers, databases, recommended to use for applications, servers, databases, etc. If you want to install one database, your application will connect with a database, right? Where we need to install the databases, database server should be installed in one computer. It is recommended to install database software in the Linux OS. It is recommended to install your application servers like WebLogic, WebSphere. Like there are some application servers are available, Glassfish, Tomcat, some web servers and application servers are available. It is highly recommended to install those servers also in the Linux machines. And I want to run my application, I want to deploy my application. It is recommended to use Linux OS to deploy our applications. Note, in real time, we will use Linux OS only to set up infrastructure required to run our application. In order to run our application, we need server, we need a database, we need a cluster. Everything, all the infrastructure that we need for our application, we are going to set up on the Linux operating system. Now, Linux is not only for administrators. Linux OS is not only for administrators. Even developers and testers also will use Linux OS in real time to monitor our application and application servers. Most of the people will think that only administrators are going to use Linux operating systems in the company. That is a wrong assumption. Even developers and testers also will use the Linux operating system to monitor our applications and our application servers. I think you guys are clear with this. What is OS? We know that OS is a mediator between the user and computer hardware components. Mainly we will deal with Windows OS and Linux OS, right? Windows we are going to use in our personal computer, and the Linux we are going to use in the real-time environment to run our applications. Now, history of Linux. How this Linux came into market? Who developed this Linux operating system? And how we are using this Linux OS, who is making the changes to Linux OS? That is what we are going to understand, right? History of Linux. Linux belongs to any company, or Linux is not belongs to any company? Guys, can you tell me, Linux is belongs to any company, or Linux is not belongs to any company? Linux is belongs to any company, or Linux is not belongs to any company? Linux is not belongs to any company. Linux is an open source operating system, and we can say that it is community based operating system. Linux is not belongs to any company. It is community based operating system. Now guys, who developed this Linux operating system? In 1991, a student, his name is Linus Torvalds. Who is the person? Linus Torvalds. In 1991, a student, Linus Torvalds, developed this Linux operating system. Who developed this Linux operating system? Any company developed it? No. a person at that time he is a student in the year of 1991, a student whose name is Linus Torvalds developed this Linux OS. Why he developed this Linux OS is, why this guy developed this Linux OS is, Linus Torvalds part of Linus Torvalds identified some challenges in Unix OS, and he suggested some changes for Unix OS. Linus Torvalds identified some challenges in Unix operating system, and he suggested some changes for Unix OS. But Unix OS team rejected Linus Torvalds suggestions. That guy gone through Unix operating system. He identified some challenges available in the Unix operating system, but the people who developed that Unix operating system rejected the suggestions which given by Linus Torvalds. With that angry, this guy developed a new operating system that is called Linux operating system. So tell me, who is the father of the Linux OS? Can you guys tell me who is the father of the Linux OS? Linus Torvalds. Linus Torvalds used Linux OS to develop Linux. Linus Torvalds used Linux operating system to develop Linux. Now, here guys, Linus plus Linux. Okay, he has taken two letters from his name. First two letters from his name, last three letters from the Linux operating system, that is called as our Linux operating system. First two letters from his name, and last three letters from Linux operating system. First two letters from his name and last three letters from Linux operating system, that became Linux operating system. Li plus Nux, he framed it as Linux. That is how the name Linux came into market. Do you understand Linus Torvalds? How this Linus Torvalds prepared the name as Linux? Linus Torvalds is a student in the 1991. He identified some challenges in the Unix operating system, and he suggested some changes for Unix OS, but Unix OS team rejected Linus Torvalds suggestions. Whatever the suggestions this guy has provided, that team rejected his suggestions. Arey bacha, aap yahan se niklo. That is what they told. Bhaiya, aap student ho, yahan se niklo. We know what to do. So that is what the Unix OS team told to Linus Torvalds. Ye bande ko bahut gussa aa gaya. When those people told like that, this person got angry. Then he started understanding Linux operating system, and he modified some changes to the Linux operating system, and he released into market with a name called Linux. How this guy prepared the name as a Linux? His name is Linus. He used a operating system called Linux operating system. He has taken first two letters from his name, last three letters from the Linux operating system. He prepared the name as Li plus Nux, that is called Linux operating system. Linus Torvalds released Linux OS with a source code into market, so that anybody can modify Linux OS. That's why it is called as open source operating system. That means whatever the code that he has written to prepare the Linux operating system, that code he released into the market. That code is available in the internet. Now, the Linus Torvalds' intention is he want to provide one operating system for the people so that they can customize according to their requirement. He is giving the operating system for free and he is giving the code also for the free so that anybody can modify that operating system according to their requirement. According to their requirement. Now, guys, do you understand how this Linux came into market? Who is the father of the Linux and how this Linux is free and open source? This is the history. This is the history. In 1991, a student whose name is Linus Torvalds developed this Linux. Actually, he used Unix operating system and he thought of making some changes to Unix, but Unix team not accepted his suggestions. Isko gussa aa gaya. Then he used Linux operating system. He made some changes to that operating system. He released into the market for free of cost so that anybody can use it. And he not only free, the code also he provided into the internet so that anybody can take the Linux operating system, can modify according to your requirement. That's why Linux is called as free and open source operating system. Okay, good, fine guys. Now, as Linux operating system is open source, as Linux OS is open source, so many people and companies taken that Linux OS and modified according to their requirement, and released into market with their brand name, released into market with different names. Linux OS is free and Linux OS is open source. You can take that operating system, you can modify according to your requirement. Already people has done that. Right? As the Linux operating system is open source, as Linux is open source operating system, so many people and companies have taken that Linux OS and modified according to their requirement and released into market with different names. Those are called as Linux distributions. Now, have you heard about RHEL, Red Hat Linux operating system? Did you hear about Ubuntu OS? Did you hear about CentOS? Did you hear about Fedora OS? Did you hear about OpenSUSE? Did you hear about Kali Linux? These all are distributions of the Linux operating system. These are the distributions of the Linux operating system. Some people will call as distributions. Some people will call as flavors. Some people will call as distributions. Some people will call as flavors. Linux flavors. RHEL, Red Hat company has done this. Red Hat company is there. Red Hat people has taken the Linux operating system. They modified that operating system and they released into market with a name called Red Hat Linux. Red Hat Linux is available. Red Hat is a Linux distribution. Okay. Ubuntu OS is available in the market. What is Ubuntu OS? That is a Linux distribution. They have taken the Linux operating system, they modified something in the Linux operating system, they released into market with a different name called Ubuntu OS. Ubuntu is distribution of the Linux. CentOS is also one of the Linux distribution. Fedora is also one of the Linux distribution. OpenSUSE, one of the Linux distribution. Kali Linux, one of the Linux distribution. There are 200 plus Linux distributions are available in the market. Guys, are you clear with my point? How many Linux distributions are available? 200 plus Linux distributions are available in the market. 200 plus Linux distributions are available in the market. Now, according to the requirement, some people will use CentOS operating system. Some people will use Ubuntu OS operating system. Ubuntu OS. Some people will use Ubuntu OS. Some people will use CentOS. Some people will use Red Hat Linux. Some people use OpenSUSE. Some people will use Fedora. Some people will use Debian. Debian is also one of the Linux flavor. Like this, there are 200 plus Linux distributions are available in the market. According to our requirement, we can use any one of the flavor. We can use any one of the flavor. Are you guys able to follow this? Are you guys able to follow this? Now, I am giving you an assignment. I want you people to analyze these distributions and you tell me when to use which distribution. If somebody is using CentOS, can I say that he is using Linux operating system? If somebody is using Ubuntu operating system, can we say that he is using Linux OS? Yes, Ubuntu is Linux operating system. CentOS is Linux operating system. Fedora is also Linux operating system. OpenSUSE is Linux operating system. Kali Linux operating system. Debian Linux operating system. RHEL Linux operating system. How these operating systems developed? These operating systems are developed by using Linux OS only. That's why these are called as flavors of the Linux. Some people will call it as distribution. Some people will call it as distribution. Some people will call it as flavor. Linux operating system having so many flavors. There are almost 200 plus flavors are available for Linux. Guys, now we are using Windows operating system now. We are using Windows operating system. Some people are using Windows 7. Some people are using Windows 8. Some people are using Windows 10. Some people are using Windows 11. What is that Windows 7, 8, 10, 11? Can I say those are flavors of the Windows? Can I say those are flavors of the Windows? Yes. Earlier Windows MS-DOS, after that Windows XP, after that Windows 3, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 11. Currently, we are using Windows 11 in the market. Those are called as Windows operating system flavors. Similarly, Linux operating system also having several flavors. Ubuntu, CentOS, Fedora, OpenSUSE, Kali Linux, Debian, like that there are 200 plus Linux distributions are available in the market. Are you guys comfortable with my point? How this Linux operating system came into market and how the Linux operating system is different from Windows operating system? Are you clear with this history? Are you clear with this history? Come on, guys. Fine. Now, guys, here environment setup. Now, I want to use Linux computer to practice. I need a Linux machine to practice. I want to learn the Linux operating system, right? For that, we need a Linux computer. Environment setup. We can set up Linux machine in two ways. We can set up Linux machine in two ways. We can set up Linux machine in two ways. First one is by using what is that, guys? Hypervisor. By using Hypervisor, we can set up that Linux machine. Second one is using cloud service. So do you want to set up a Linux machine in your computer or you want to use Linux machine in the cloud? Come on, guys. Now, already we are having a computer. In that computer, we are having operating system. By using hypervisor with a virtual box. By using hypervisor with a virtual box, we can set up the operating system. We can set up that in the cloud also using cloud service. Using cloud service also we can do this. Now let me tell you what is the difference between these two approaches. Let me tell you what is the difference between these two approaches. Now guys, already I am having one laptop. Already I'm having one laptop. Right. In this laptop, what is there? I'm having Windows OS. Come on, guys. I'm having already one computer. That means I'm taking a class for you people by using one laptop. My laptop is having Windows operating system. My laptop is having Windows operating system. In this Windows operating system, by default, there will be one software, guys. That software is called as Hypervisor. There is one software which is called as Hypervisor. Now, by using this Hypervisor, I am going to install one more software in this computer, which is called VirtualBox. What I am going to do? I'm going to install one more software called VirtualBox. By using this VirtualBox, I can install multiple operating systems in the same machine. I can install multiple operating systems in the same machine. Guys, do you understand? How can we set up the Linux operating system in our computer? You no need to purchase a separate computer to set up the Linux OS. You no need to purchase a separate computer to set up the Linux. Here, already you are having one system. In this system, we are having a Windows operating system. In this Windows, we are having Windows is called as our parent OS. Windows is called as our parent OS. Now, in this Windows, we are having one hypervisor. Hypervisor is one software in the Windows machine which will allow us to install guest operating systems. Okay, within one operating system, I am going to install another operating system. We can use Mobex Stream also. There are several options are available. Mobex Stream is available. VirtualBox is available. You can use it to install one operating system within another operating system. You can use it to install one operating system within another operating system. If I go for this approach, then it is called as guest OS. This is called as guest OS. This is one approach I can follow to set up a Linux machine within the Windows machine. This is one approach. Now, if you go with this approach, your system will become slow or not? Guys, tell me, if I go for this approach, our systems will become slow or not? Will become slow. Why? Because within one OS, we are installing other operating systems. So our system will take a lot of time to start. Because already we are having Windows operating system as a main operating system. That is called as our parent operating system in the computer. Now tell me, can I use a computer without operating system? Can you tell me, can I use one computer without operating system? No, we need to have one operating system, that is mandatory. Now, in my laptop, I'm using Windows operating system. Windows is called as my parent OS. In this Windows, there is a software called Hypervisor. In every Windows, Hypervisor will be available, which will support to install guest operating system. Within one machine, you can install other, within one OS, you can install other OS. By using this Hypervisor, we are going to install one software called VirtualBox. This is also one software which will provide the environment to install other operating system. VirtualBox is a software which will provide the environment to install other operating system. Now, once if I install this VirtualBox software, in my Windows OS, then what I can do with this VirtualBox? By using this VirtualBox, I can install multiple operating systems in the same computer. Okay, first I will log into Windows. In this Windows, I will open my VirtualBox. Within that VirtualBox, I can install guest operating systems. But is it recommended to go with this approach? Guys? Come on. Is it recommended or not recommended? I think most of the people are using 4 GB RAM system. If you are using 4 GB RAM system, then your system will become dead slow. because you are using hypervisors to install guest operating system in the single laptop. Your systems will become damn slow. I don't suggest this approach for you. What is the other approach we can follow? What is the other approach we can follow? We can go for virtual computer. We can go for virtual computer. Guys, here AWS Cloud is available. AWS Cloud is available. AWS Cloud is having several data centers. Amazon Web Services available. AWS Cloud is having several data centers. Data center is available. Data center is nothing but a building where AWS is having several servers. AWS data center is available. In AWS data center, there are several servers are available. There are several servers are available. What I will do is, I will connect it from my computer to AWS Cloud. From my laptop, I will connect it to AWS Cloud and I will set up one virtual computer by connecting to AWS data center. This is my PC. This is my PC, my personal computer. Now, am I installing any software in my personal computer? I'm setting up a Linux computer in the AWS data center. I'm setting up Linux machine in the AWS data center. AWS stands for Amazon Web Services, which is trending cloud provider in the market. Amazon company is providing web services. That means they are providing infrastructure over the web. They are providing infrastructure over the web. Now, what we need to do here, guys, two things we have to do. First thing is create account in AWS Cloud. In AWS, create account in the AWS. Launch virtual machine in the AWS. Launch virtual machine in AWS. That's it. That's it. We no need to install any special software in our computer. AWS is available. AWS is a cloud provider. We can create the account in the AWS and we can launch a virtual machine in the AWS. AWS will give you one virtual computer with the Linux operating system. AWS will give you one virtual computer with the Linux operating system. Guys, whenever you want to create account in the AWS, they will ask you your credit card details or debit card details, but they will not charge any amount from your card. 1 year free account. Account is free for 1 year. Account is free for 1 year. For 1 year, they are not going to charge anything from your card. Even though if you there are some limitations available. If you cross the limit, AWS will tell you how much amount is charging for you. It is like a postpaid bill. With they will generate the bill. If you use more services in the AWS, they will generate the bill, but you have to pay the bill on your own. AWS is not going to deduct any amount from your card without your involvement. That is guarantee from the AWS. Okay, here we are just going to use AWS Cloud to set up one virtual computer with the Linux operating system. 1 year free account it is providing. 1 year free, you no need to pay anything for the AWS for first year. After first year, if you use the services in the AWS, then bill will be generated for you. Then you have to pay that bill. Now guys, tell me which approach is recommended for us now. Now tell me which approach is recommended for us now. Going with VirtualBox is recommended or going with the Cloud VM is recommended. Approach 1 or approach 2? Approach 2. Approach 2. What is the problem if I go with approach 1? What is the problem if I go with approach 1? What is the problem if I go with approach 1? Our system will become slow because it is going to use our system resources, right? In one operating system, we are installing the VirtualBox. By using that VirtualBox, we are installing other operating system. System resources will be consumed. Our system performance will become dead slow. That's why what I am going to do is I'm going to use a virtual computer from AWS. AWS stands for Amazon Web Services. AWS providing the infrastructure by setting up data centers for us. In order to use AWS virtual computer, you need to create an account in the AWS. For that, it is going to ask your card details. They are not going to charge any amount from your card for first 1 year. Okay. Once you create the account in the AWS, then you can launch virtual machines in the AWS. Are you guys clear with my point? So what is the first step that you need to do? What is the first step that we need to do? We need to create the account in the AWS. Yesterday, already I have shared the document for you how to create the account in the AWS. By following this document, you can create the account in the AWS. Now, I am going to set up one Linux computer in the AWS. Guys, in the AWS, there is one service called EC2, Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud. If you want to set up virtual machines in the AWS, if I want to set up virtual machine in the AWS, then we need to use one service called EC2. By using EC2, we can set up a virtual computer in the AWS. Okay, Linux operating system. How to set up that virtual computer using Linux, that also step by step I have prepared a document along with the screenshots also. You need to create the account, then log in into your account. How to create the account? First PDF is available. This document will tell you step-by-step process to create the account in the AWS. This second document will tell you how to set up one virtual machine in the AWS by using EC2 service. Step 1, create the account. Step 2, log in into that. Then step 3, go to the dashboard, select EC2. EC2 service you have to select. Then click on the launch instance. Here we are selecting Ubuntu server. That means I'm going to use Ubuntu OS. Ubuntu is a Linux flavor. Then I will select Ubuntu, which is a free tier eligible. Step by step with the arrows I have given. Then click on the next button. Select the instance details, configure security groups and storages. All these things we are going to do. Click on next button, click on launch button, download key pair, and finally, if you complete the 14 steps given in the document, then Linux computer is ready. Can I do that steps now, guys? Can I do those steps now for you? Now? Yes, already I have an account in the AWS, guys. I have an account in the AWS now. Let me log in into my AWS account. This is my email ID. You have to create the account first, guys. Once you have created the account, select this as a root user and enter your email ID. Click on next. It is going to ask you CAPTCHA to enter. NZDX4T. Chalo, click on submit. CAPTCHA is correct. It is asking my password. I will not spell it out. Okay. Don't expect. Now I entered my password and I logged in into my AWS account. You have to create your own account, guys. Once you logged in into AWS account, can you see EC2 here? EC2 stands for what? Elastic Compute Cloud. If you are not able, I am using all these services in my DevOps classes. So these are frequently used services in my DevOps classes. If you are not able to see this one, go to services section. Here, AWS services available. In the services, you can see EC2. You can see the EC2. Click on the EC2. Now, currently, do I have any instances? Currently, I don't have any instances. Now, instance means one computer, guys. Currently, I don't have any instances. I have to create one instance with Linux operating system. Click on launch instance. It is asking which instance you want to launch. I'm choosing what? Amazon Linux 2 AMI. There are several images are available. Images means pre-configured systems. Amazon Linux 2 available. Mac OS is available. Red Hat is available. SUSE is available. Ubuntu is available. Windows Server is available. There are so many. Debian OS is available. Ubuntu Server is available. So here, can we choose AMI, which machine we want, I'm going for Ubuntu. Can I go for this Ubuntu? Guys, before choosing this, you have to check this. This machine is free tier eligible or not. My machine is free tier eligible. Click on select. Now, once I have selected that free tier eligible Ubuntu server, then it is giving me some type of the instances. I'm going for T2 micro free tier eligible. Can you read this? Micro instances are eligible for the AWS free usage tier for the first 12 months following your AWS sign up date. From the date you signed up into the AWS, 1 year it is free, and monthly 750 hours you can run that, no problem. Today, if you create the account, from today to next 1 year, it is free for you. T2 micro, free tier eligible. Click on configure instance details. How many instances we want? Only one instance I want. Okay, leave it. Next, add storage. By default, it is giving the storage as 8 GB. By default, it is giving storage as 8 GB. I'm not changing anything. Add a tags. No need to add any tag also. Configure security group. By default, it is using SSH protocol. Don't change anything. Click on review and launch. Then click on launch. Here it is asking key pair. Guys, for security purpose, it is going to ask you to create a key pair. Do one thing. Select a option called create new key pair and enter your key pair name. My Ubuntu OS key pair. I have selected Ubuntu OS machine. Select create new pair option, enter the name for the key pair and click on download key pair. Your key pair file is downloaded. Guys, it is very important to save that key pair. In the tomorrow session, I will tell you how to use that key pair, or already that is mentioned in the document how to use the key pair. This key pair is used for security purpose. Whatever the computer we are creating, virtual computer we are creating in the AWS, to secure that virtual computer, AWS providing a key pair. Tomorrow I will talk more about that key pair. For today, you just select it as create new pair and download that key pair, keep it with you. Then click on launch instance. Click on launch instance. Wow. We are able to create one Linux machine in the AWS. Your instances are now launching. Click on this instance ID. Click on this instance ID. Can you see your instance state is pending? Can you see the instance state is pending? From the pending, it will convert to running state. From the pending, it will convert to running state. You can give some name also. What is this? My Ubuntu OS. My Ubuntu VM. I can say that it is my Ubuntu VM virtual machine. Now, can you see the status of this instance now? Instance state is running or not? Guys, can you see this instance state is running or not? Status checking, it is initializing. It is doing some basic checks, guys. It is doing some basic checks. Once this instance check, status check is completed, then we can connect to our Linux computer. I will show you how to connect also. But remember, key pair you have downloaded, keep it safe. That key pair is required. That key pair is required. Okay. It is initializing my instance, guys. This is a virtual computer I have taken from AWS, Ubuntu OS. I have taken one computer from the AWS which is having Ubuntu operating system. Ubuntu operating system. Now tell me, did I install any software in my local system? Did I install anything in my local, or everything I am doing on the cloud? Am I doing anything? Am I installing anything in my local? No, I have done this setup in the cloud. Which cloud platform I am using? Which cloud platform I am using? AWS Cloud. So can I use AWS for free of cost? Can I use AWS for free of cost? First 1 year it is free. First 1 year it is free. Okay, guys, meanwhile, this instance is running now. Instance is getting started. Let me upload the class notes for you. I will upload this document for you guys. You can download it from our website. You guys are belongs to Linux VM setup in AWS. Linux VM setup in the AWS. Let me upload this file, guys. EC2 Linux VM launching PDF I am uploading. Setup Linux VM in AWS. Click on submit. Guys, now can you see that the class notes is uploaded for you? Yesterday I have uploaded how to create the account in the AWS, that PDF file. Now today I have uploaded how to launch Linux machine in the AWS Cloud. PDF documents I have uploaded. If you log in into this course, guys, people who joined for today, you click on this Linux image and there will be a button called proceed to payment. Click on that button. It will not ask you any fees because course fees is 0. Okay, once you enrolled for that course, go to my courses. In the my courses, you can see Linux. If you click on the Linux, can you see these notes files? AWS account creation, you click on this download. This file will be downloaded for you. Yesterday's class, operating system introduction. Today's class, Linux VM setup in the AWS. Click on download. This file will be downloaded for you. What is EC2? What is Linux? Linux architecture. Launching Linux VM using AWS EC2 service. Step-by-step document I have provided. Okay, by following this document, can you set up one Linux VM in the AWS, guys? By following this, can you set up this Linux VM? By following this document, can you set up the Linux VM? Yeah, perfect. Now let's come back to our EC2. Refresh this. Can you check the status of our Linux VM? Can you check the status of our Linux VM? Now, status checks are passed or not? Status checks are passed. What is the status of my instance, guys? What is the status of my instance? Can I say that my instance is in the running state? Perfect. Now, let's click on select this instance checkbox, guys. Select this checkbox. Click on connect button. This is the IP address of my Linux machine. My Linux machine username is Ubuntu. Click on connect. Now I am connecting to my Linux computer, which is running in the AWS Cloud. Finally, I connected to my Linux computer, which is running in the AWS Cloud. Let's ask this computer, who am I? I am Ubuntu user. What is my present working directory? Inside the home, I am inside the Ubuntu. Can I create one directory here? Make directory Ashok IT. Yes, I have created one directory in the Linux machine by using mkdir command. Can you display all the files available in this directory? Ashok IT is available. Can I create one file? Cat space hello.txt. Now, hi, how are you? I'm creating some file and I'm writing some data to that file. ls-l. Yes, now you see in this directory I have created one folder and I have created one file. How to display the folders and files available? ls-l command. These all are Linux commands. So from tomorrow onwards, we have to practice the commands of the Linux. From tomorrow onwards, we are going to practice these Linux commands. Guys, tell me, is it difficult to set up a Linux machine? Or dead easy? Is it difficult or dead easy? Come on. Are we facing any problems? Are we struggling to set up it? It's dead easy. You just need to use the AWS. You can set up this Linux machine. Can you guys set up this? Linux machine before coming to tomorrow's session? Tomorrow, I am going to tell you how to connect to this Linux machine by using Putty software. In this document already I have given how to connect to the Linux machine by using Putty. Now, here I have given steps to set up the Linux machine. Up to 14 steps, creating the instance, and 15th step, 16th step also we have done, 17th step also we have done. We are able to connect to the Linux. Up to 17 steps I have completed in the class today. Tomorrow I am going to tell you how to connect to the Linux machine by using Putty. In the real time, we will use the Putty software to connect with the Linux machines. So if you want to do that as an assignment, you can go through the document and you can complete very clearly. I have prepared the document with the proper screenshots also. Download the Putty software, open the Putty Gen software, convert the key file, then connect it to that Linux machine by using Putty software. Then we can execute the commands. Can you guys follow this document and can you complete the task which is given in the document before coming to tomorrow's session? Can you guys complete this document before coming to tomorrow's session? Fine. So in the tomorrow session, what we are going to start? Directly Linux commands. First, I will tell you how to connect with the Putty. Putty is one software which is used to connect with the Linux operating system. Got it. So tomorrow we will start with Linux commands. I want everybody to complete account creation in the AWS and the Linux VM setup in the AWS by following the PDF documents. I have given 2 PDFs you can download from our website. How to create account in the AWS, step-by-step document I have given. How to set up a Linux VM in the AWS, step-by-step document I have given. Just to download them and follow those documents, then you will be able to do it on your own. Thanks for joining, guys. We will meet again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Tomorrow we'll start with Linux commands. From tomorrow, practical. From tomorrow, it is practically we are going to understand the Linux from tomorrow. It's very important, guys. Don't miss even single session also. These sessions are very important. We are going to use all these concepts in the real time. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Good night. We'll meet again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Bye-bye. Take care.